My name was on the street. And we bounce from this here, I'm gonna go down in them corners, let them people know word did not get back to me. Let them know Marlo stepped to any motherfucker, Omar, Barksdale, whoever. My name is my name.
So what happened to the big bad Candace Owens? I think that's what everybody's wondering. What happened to that cockiness? What happened to the swaggering Candace Owens? For 3 months, this negress, this uppity black woman, has been going on her YouTube and bobbing her head. I'm going to name names. That doesn't work for me. What you mean? What you mean? That ain't work with my timeline. What you mean? I got the names. You don't want to f with me, nigga.
Hey, so I just wanted to pause the reaction video just to clarify that I've never heard Candace Owens say anything like that in my life. However, as a black man hearing this coming out of Nick Fuentes' racist ass mouth, it was hilarious. But let's proceed.
That we've been hearing that for 3 months. We have been hearing this uppity ignoramus for 3 months, bobbing her head, cocky. Hey, yo, I got names. Don't you try. Don't play with me. Where'd she go? Where'd that Candace go? Where is she? What happened? Did they replace her with a body double? Is it AI? Check her earlobes. Check her earlobes. Did they replace her? Because we got a very different Candace Owens.
The longer Candace Owens stretches out this Charlie Kirk assassination conspiracy YouTube live podcast series, she is softening up her stance. If Erika Kirk went on a national platform and told her to stop, she should have stopped. But the fact that she's going to continue leads me to believe that she is partially grifting and she cares little about the truth. Candace is pushing an agenda, and time will tell what it is.
Today, we got a Candace Owens who is sort of nervous, saying, "Hi, guys, Shabbat Shalom."
For the past 3 months, Candace Owens has went on an anti-Israel campaign. So for Erika Kirk to publicly tell the world that she stands with Israel, and after Candace Owens decided to meet with Erika Kirk, she said everything went great and according to plan, Nick Fuentes was throwing out a sneak diss. Candace Owens is bowing down to the same individuals that she's been slandering for the past 3 months. Why? Time will tell.
Everyone's saying I sold out. What do you mean? That's not true. Those are bots saying that. I still believe there's a conspiracy. What happened? What happened to that same energy? She went into the meeting with this energy, giddy, grinning, smiling. Erika Kirk, she's talking about me. I know she's talking about me. I'm going to set her straight. I'm going to ask my questions. Tell me where I lied, she said. Then she goes in the meeting, whole different attitude. Changed her tune. She comes out of the meeting, whole different attitude. Erika's the best. Turning Point's innocent. It's just some people in Turning Point might be bad because, you know, we don't know, but we know it feels off. What happened? You know what I think happened? I think this is why Turning Point called the meeting in the first place. Because a lot of people that defend Turning Point were saying they're making a mistake hosting the meeting. They're saying no matter what they say, Candace will continue fueling fanning the flames of the conspiracy. People said, so why did Erika agree to the meeting? Here's what I think happened, based on my intimate knowledge of how these things work. The way the defamation law works in the United States is very interesting. If you defame or libel an ordinary person, a private citizen, there's a very low bar to prove that you've defamed somebody. So let's say if I talk about my neighbor who is not on Twitter, who's not on Facebook, who's not a famous person, if I take my neighbor who's a private person that just has a job and is unknown, and I start saying, this person's a murderer, this person's a rapist, this person's terrible, All they have to prove is that I was reckless. All they have to prove is that what I'm telling the world about that person is not true. And they win. And they get to extract a lot of damages. If, however, you are a public figure, if you're famous, so let's say if you're the president of the United States, if I say a lot of terrible things about the president, he has a much higher bar legally to find me guilty. He has to prove, the standard is called actual malice. And what that means is that you knew you were lying and you lied to hurt that person. And then they have to prove how much money they lost. So it's very difficult to prove defamation if you're a public figure. And it's even more difficult for it to be lucrative, for it to be viable, to win any kind of money, because you have to prove the damages too. How do you prove that somebody is engaging in actual malice? You have to prove that they lied and they knew they were lying, which is a very tough thing, because how do you know that somebody is lying? Well, I imagine maybe that's what they did in this meeting, because Turning Point brought their lawyers and they brought their documentation. And if they show Candace Owens certain information with a lawyer present, if Candace continues to talk badly about Turning Point after having verifiably seen evidence to the contrary, they can prove actual malice. They can prove that she's knowingly lying. Maybe that's what they did. Maybe that was the strategy.
All right. So that was Nick Fuentes' opinion on Erika Kirk and Candace Owens' secret meeting. Personally, you all, I thought it was very suspicious that after a 3-month public expose of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's wife, Charlie Kirk's pastor, Donald Trump, Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu, the state of Israel, Egyptian planes, the story goes on and on. I think it was mighty suspicious that Candace Owens decided to take a meeting in private. Now that I know that the meeting was in private, I know that Erika and Candace's agenda was not to get to the truth of who actually murdered Charlie Kirk. I would have to agree with Nick Fuentes on this. I think this was more of a legal matter, and I think this was Erika Kirk lawyers trying to figure out if they could sue Candace Owens for defamation. You know, they were trying to figure out if Candace Owens was purposely spreading misinformation. And, you know, I just got done watching Candace Owens' Piers Morgan interview. Well, I fell asleep on it, but I watched some of it, and Candace Owens said she's not going to stop. So, you know, we'll see where this is headed, you all. Like, I personally don't know what Candace Owens' endgame is regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk, given that Charlie's parents aren't talking about it, the president is done talking about it, Charlie's wife wants to move on, and it seems like the general public, the Americans, want to move on from this as well. It just seems like Candace Owens fans are the only ones that's hanging on to this story. However, I know my opinion is not the end-all be-all. So you all put it in the comment section, because I know when you tend to disagree with Candace Owens, you know, her fans call you a fed. So, you know, I want to keep my platform open. So you all let me know if you all agree with Nick Fuentes, or you let me know if you guys disagree with Nick Fuentes. If you stayed to the end of the video, I want to say thank you guys. And I also want you guys to keep your notification bell on, as well as hit that like button. I'll catch you guys on the next upload. And I'm out.